The skinny repeal, was it gonna happen? No one knew. It came down to the wire. It seemed like Susan Collins was a no, Lisa Murkowski was a no, and then came McCain. He stepped forward. There was a moment of hesitation. Let's take a look at what happened on the floor.
Mr. Peters.
No.
Oh, it's so good. I watched that like 10 times. Thoughts, reactions to this moment.
Okay.
Audible little,
Yeah, voting it down, which killed it. It would have been 50-50 with him, and then Pence would have come in and made the tiebreaker. It would have moved on to like this tiny room of people to reconcile to how the House and the Senate bills. But now, that's it. The skinny bundle was rejected.
Okay, so let's break down the drama that happened before he voted. So McConnell thinks he's the Republican leader in the Senate. He thinks he's got all the votes lined up. He knows from the day one that he didn't have Susan Collins, and he's known for a long time he doesn't have Murkowski. So they need to hold every other Republican senator. Somehow he convinced that idiot Dean Heller, who's now gonna lose his seat in Nevada, to vote for this disastrous bill. And the bill, by the way, the substance is super important. This actually is arguably the worst of their proposals. 32 million people could have lost their health insurance because of this, because there was no replacement. They just gutted Obamacare and let us bleed out. And next year alone, 17 million people would have lost their health insurance, let alone overall 32 million. So it's a terrible idea. The earlier plan that was not as bad was at polling at 17%. The earlier plan was disastrous, and this was worse. So, but McConnell somehow twisted arms, got the donors in, but whatever. And Dean Heller and Rob Portman and all these guys who are in swing states just walked off the plank. Like, okay, I vote yes, even though this is probably my last vote. Okay, I vote yes. And then McCain, who was supposed to vote yes, came in and is like, sorry, all of you. I prefer presidents with better healthcare plans.
He walks in from the side, and this is when he kind of it was you could tell he was looking to McCain was looking to stick it to them. So there's a bunch of Republicans behind him, and there's Mitch McConnell in front of him. He does the thumbs down thing to whoever's in the front. As it happens, now look at Mitch McConnell's arms across.
Right.
After he turns him down, he's gonna stop and pause like F you. Here comes down doing his turn. Fuck you.
You're right. He looked at McConnell for a second like, what now?
Yeah.
What now?
It was half, I don't know the percentages, but there's a significant aspect of his motivation being, you guys keep picking at me.
Yeah.
Trump keeps talking about me. Now's my chance to come get you. So maybe it's for the wrong reason. Maybe he really believed in screwing everybody over, but his pride was a different thing there.
So there we have the statement from McCain coming out of this. He said, from the beginning, I believe that Obamacare should be repealed and replaced with a solution that increases competition, lowers costs, and improves care for the people. The so-called skinny repeal amendment the Senate voted on today would not accomplish those goals. The speaker's statement, which is the speaker promised that the House would be willing to go to conference, does not ease my concern that this shell of a bill would be taken up and passed at any time. One of the major failures of Obamacare was that it was rammed through Congress by Democrats on a strict party line basis without a single Republican vote. We should not make the mistakes of the past that has led to Obamacare's collapse, including in my home state of Arizona, where premiums are skyrocketing and healthcare providers are fleeing the marketplace.
I just had a question about the skinny repeal itself. I was under the impression that it would save the Medicaid expansion, but that the rest of Obamacare would go away. That was. And that's really interesting because like even then they voted it down.
Yeah. So and that's why Shelley Moore Capito from West Virginia voted yes. She was a hard no on anything that cut Medicaid because 1/3 of West Virginia is on Medicaid. So as conservative as she is, she's like, I ain't stupid. I'm not gonna just throw 1/3 of my constituents out on their ass with no health insurance. They're gonna hate me forever.
Yeah.
So you're right, this didn't include that. The problem with this was that once you take the mandate away, then it definitely causes a death spiral because then all the young healthy people leave and are not gonna get insurance. So for everyone else who remains, insurance becomes incredibly expensive. So then everybody has trouble affording insurance. then the healthy are gone, and then everybody else can't afford it. So then they're gone, and that's why you lose even more people. So not replacing it is disastrous, and so that's why the skinny repeal, even though it didn't cut Medicaid, was in some ways worse.
And it would make Medicaid even more expensive and burdensome. I don't understand exactly how that would go down, but yeah, that's an interesting thing because I was always thinking, well, if you save Medicaid, then you get more upvotes, but
so we have McCain going into this saying like, listen, I'm voting for. He was the person who emerged essentially from the dead after brain surgery, showing up saying like, I will be that vote that allows this to go to the vote-a-rama, where everyone comes together and we have a discussion. He said around that, I sat down with my governor and Obamacare's not working for my state. I want to fix it for my state. He says, hear that. This skinny bundle would make it much, much worse. If he voted yes, it would have gone to another like little cabal of people to reconcile or come up essentially with a completely new plan between the House and the Senate. He's saying all that.
Yeah.
But was a little bit of what he did a response to all the people who called him a sellout for coming back to take money away from healthcare from people, and the quote saying, I like people who didn't get captured by Trump about McCain. This feels so Game of Thrones of like, you screwed me over once and I'm back.
Okay, so let me explain all that because those are all great questions. So, and in doing so, let me explain a little bit more of the drama. So his fellow Republican from Arizona, Jeff Flake, who was also trying to in some ways be a moderate but failing miserably at it, had pulled him aside and said, look, we're all going to walk the plank. If you don't walk the plank with us, we're all screwed. We all voted for that and you got nothing out of it. And he tries to convince McCain and McCain says no. Then other Republicans come and try to convince him, he says no. Then the president calls him. President Trump actually got stopped playing cowboy or fireman for a second and actually did something, okay, and he calls McCain. McCain's like, no. Then he goes to the Democrats. The Democrats are like trying to convince him. He's like, I'm done with this. And he says, quote, let's get this over with. And then he comes out with a famous down.
He also said, watch the show.
That's right. He said, watch the show now, okay? So, and that goes to your point, Brett, about this is a little bit of drama. So, and so his official reasons are legitimate, and breaking those down. He has been saying from day one, this is not regular process. What we need to do, and what we criticized Obama and the Democrats for not doing, which is actually not true because they debated it for a whole year. But his point is, we're supposed to debate this thing. McConnell wrote it by himself in his office. He didn't ask anybody for any input, and he just foisted it on here and goes, here, vote for it, right? But we didn't do anything that we said we were gonna do. We did no hearings, no discussion, no debate. So I told you that was my problem. And so that's why I think he looks at McConnell there for a second like, I told you not to do it this way, and I told you not to mess with me.
God, it's okay, I forgot that they did that.
Yeah.
I forgot it was
yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's point one. Second of all, he's right about the specific thing that you read, Brett. If they go to conference, the way that a bill normally goes is either the House or the Senate passes first, the other one passes it. They usually pass different versions. The language will be a little different. They'll have a couple of clauses that are different. Then they go to a conference and come up with one joint bill, which then goes back to both houses. It has to be the same, and they vote on it. Or they could just take one of the two versions and say that's the one, and we're done with it. So McCain is saying, if I say yes to this in the hopes that we get a new bill coming out of conference after we negotiated with the House Republicans, and then we get to revote, they tell me don't worry about it. But no, the House can just accept this because we're not gonna get a yes vote on anything else, in which case I just voted to take away insurance from 32 million people.
Right.
And I'm not gonna do that. And McConnell, you want me to trust you on that? No, and then the look, to be fair, to be accurate, it was this and then what now, okay? So that's why he looked at McConnell that way, because of those 2 points. But is there more to it? Of course. So people got all over, not on TV. On TV, they're like, oh, bravo, what a great speech about process, and this hero comes back from brain cancer and votes. But online, everybody was like, hey, you schmucks, he voted the wrong way. Like, I don't mean that just ideologically because we don't agree with him. He voted against his speech. He gave his speech about we have to follow regular order. And then he's like, and I will vote against regular order. We'll go to do this voter-rama, which is not at all what I'm in favor of or have ever been in favor of.
We take it seriously, so we will call it the voter-rama.
So now when it came to crunch time and he had gotten all that heat, oh, what happened, Maverick? What happened, man of principle?
Yeah.
You voted the wrong way anyway, and he's getting tremendous heat. Thank God for the internet, not from TV, but it's real. It's just like the internet caught Cory Booker on the drug importation bill, and he's like, oh, what, is this my hand in the cookie jar, right? And McCain got his hand caught in that cookie jar, and he's like, all right, you know what? At the end, I'm cut. And finally, is it revenge? Look, remember, McCain ran against Obama and lost to Obama, and then Obama passed Obamacare. So some were speculating he voted against his principles a couple of days ago as revenge against Obama. Okay,
it's a little bit of both, right?
He did get a little bit of both.
Ding from there.
He did get a little bit of a here, Obama shiv here, and then at the end, Trump shiv here, right? But if you ask me, and based on that vote, there's some evidence he hates Trump more.
Yeah. More, because he's just voted everything down. And it was such a direct attack saying, I like people who don't get captured.
Yeah, oh God. My question about McCain is, it's almost like, I mean, we're scraping the barrel in terms of Senate Republicans that we can actually sort of a little bit minimally admire. And obviously poor guy, has brain cancer, might not be around for a while. It did seem like a ridiculous thing to then have one of your dying actions be taking away healthcare from 32 million people. But my question is is it a little bit of a no, Republicans need to get back to having some kind of principles, because you could argue, I mean, that the Republicans, remember when they were just wrong instead of crazy?
Yeah, that's right.
It was a wonderful moment. I don't know if for those of you watching at home, maybe some people might not remember this. Republicans used to be just wrong, and then they became crazy when McCain got Sarah Palin to be his running mate.
Well, because if you remember, guys, and so that's the great question, and everybody's asking that question today. So was it really an act of principle? Should he earn the title of Maverick finally after all these years?
Yeah.
If you remember back to the times when they were just wrong, they weren't even always wrong.
Yeah.
McCain is the McCain of McCain-Feingold. McCain wanted to get money out of politics 2 decades ago. And he fought to get money out of politics, not in a perfect way, but in a significant way. And so he did use that principle. I don't know if I've said this on the show before. Back when I was a Republican, I voted for McCain in the primaries against Bush in 2000.
Oh, wow.
So, and back then, there was a lot of evidence that he had principles and was a real maverick. And by the way, that's why the Republican Party didn't pick him in 2000. All the big money guys went to Bush because he didn't have principles, and he would do whatever the donors wanted. So there is a real maverick buried under that body of John McCain. Now, with this ailment, he's not gonna run again. So did that free him to be maverick one more time? I guess at the end of the day, and there's a lot of people who are now yelling and saying, oh, I don't care, he's still a bad guy and he still votes wrong 98% of the time, and yada, yada. Look, guys, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't look a gift maverick in the mouth, okay? So the guy who votes the right way, and all credit to Murkowski and Collins as well, and to every Democrat that held.
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
and I criticize a lot of those establishment Democrats, but every one of them held. Okay, so give credit to all those guys and McCain. Doing the right thing at the end is not a little important, it's monumentally important. So he did, along with those other folks, he saved healthcare for tens of millions of people. So if if at the very end, after doing a lot of things wrong, he became maverick again, I will take it. TYT membership gets you commercial-free Young Turks. Download it, stream it, podcast it, get all the network shows, and support independent media. TYTnetwork.com/join.